Assalamualaikum guys, Arnold is officially back, and the man who is fighting is the number 12 ranked Costa, who is a warm-up I guess in this situation. But this is a fun fight for sure, don't get me wrong, even though the odds and the prediction is definitely very one-sided because Arnold Allen competed at a much higher level than this guy ever had. And Costa, he's a good fighter. His last fight, it was very good, like an impressive performance, yes, but it's not nearly enough to tell me that he's someone at the same level as Arnold Allen. And I know, right, after having such a huge loss against Gene Silva, right, where he basically emoted on you for half of the fight, right, after having a loss like that, yeah, I get it. It's understandable that you have a warm-up like this, but more than anything is just even in that fight, right, against Gene Silva, some people, though I do admit they are a bit biased, argue that Arnold Allen actually won that fight. And even though I guess it was, the second round was a bit close, so you couldn't make a case for either guy, but still, it's just a bit, it rubs me the wrong way, the fact that he is fighting a no-name, basically. No disrespect to Costa, but after this fight, he definitely will look to the top 5 and see who he can get his hands on. Maybe the winner of the Diego Lopez fight, right? Maybe the winner of those guys. But that, in my opinion, may just be a bit too difficult for Arnold Allen, because yeah, I know this guy has been competing for a long time, and he has been at the top level, especially for a while. But more than anything, is just right now at this point in this stage of his career, I don't feel like he can compete at the top level anymore. And even though he had an impressive fight against Gene Silva, who has been looking hungrier than ever, of course, especially after that Diego Lopez loss, still is just we have to think about levels right now, and more than anything we have to be realistic at this point. Now stylistically, I feel like there are a lot of people who is suitable for someone like Arnold Allen, who is very well rounded, mind you. Like, he has amazing jiu-jitsu, even though obviously a lot of people like to talk shit about it. And obviously he's striking, obviously he striked with Gene Silva, right? So that tells you enough. And when it comes to like who I think he might fight in the near future, obviously the UFC loves him, and the fans too. He's a very beloved fighter for a reason. I feel like him versus someone like, let's say, Leron Murphy is a very one-sided fight. Like, we know that Leron would probably absolutely destroy this guy. But meanwhile, on the other hand, if you look at someone like Aaron Pico, for example, yeah, that's a good guy. Like Aaron Pico right now, right? Because he obviously just beat the shit out of Patricio Pitbull. And right now I feel like for both of them, after Arnold gets an impressive finish this week, right, it's gonna be a very interesting fight, Arnold Allen versus Aaron Pico. And to be honest, even though I favor Arnold Allen in that fight just because of the sheer experience at the highest level, still Aaron Pico is a monster, and we have seen that until he got knocked out against Leron, he was winning the fight, let's just say. I'm not saying he got caught. Leron was definitely, it was big ups to Leron, right? We can't take anything away from him, but still, Aaron Pico is top level guy, yes, but not in the top 5 specifically. Just if Aaron Pico right now fight someone like Arnold Allen, right, he has a lot to gain and a lot to lose as well, because obviously he had a long PFL career, definitely, Bellator, should I say. And at this point, both of them have everything to win and everything to lose, if this fight actually happens. But as far as the prediction for this fight goes, Allen versus Costa, yeah, I'm picking Allen by decision. Allen by a finish, specifically a submission, preferably, because as I said, he is very well rounded, but he just needs to show his jiu-jitsu a bit more, especially because his opponent is also very well rounded, let's just say. But if I expect it to be a completely one-sided beatdown, and even though it's a even though I know that the guy is very defensive, still you have to realize the levels right now. And I feel like it shouldn't take him more than 2 or 3 rounds, to be honest. But anyways, that's my take on this, guys. You guys definitely make sure to play what you guys think. And another thing I wanted to tell you is that my finals is starting tomorrow, so yeah, you guys please don't forget to keep me in your prayers, and inshallah Allah will help me for sure. But assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.